How foolish of me to think this series would go anywhere but Game 7. Eagles lose 3-2 to the Fort Wayne Komets in Game 6 of the Western Conference Finals to tie the series at 3. And you can bet the Eagles were kicking themselves a bit after this loss, as they gave themselves a really good chance to win this one. The first period, at least the first half of it, went by pretty slow, with not too many chances going either way, but as the game progressed on, the Eagles started to take more and more control, and were definitely getting the better chances in the period by the end of it. Even so, a lot of the period was played through the neutral zone, with neither team getting too much extended offensive zone time. It was just that the Eagles were getting a bit stronger chances when they did get in the zone. Despite the good chances for the Eagles, they just weren't going in, including a power play they had fairly early on that they didn't capitalize on. So as time is winding down, it was still a 0-0 score, and then despite all the quality chances not going in, the Eagles get the first goal of the game on basically a total muffin. Ryan Olsen and Julian Nantel win a battle in the corner here for the puck. Olsen then takes it in behind the net and finds Watson coming in from up high down very deep in the circle. Watson just throws one on net from a very tough angle here, and even though it looks like Hauser is pinned up against the post, it somehow slips through him and into the net. Well, a goal's a goal, whether it comes on the prettiest play or the ugliest one, and either way, the Eagles are up 1-0 after the first, and they're looking good. The first half of the second period would look good as well. There would be one very short flurry where Joe Canada had to make a few amazing saves, but besides that, up until the halfway mark of the game, the Eagles continued to really control play and get the better chances. Again, they couldn't find a goal on the power play. They went 0 for 2 on the night, so not particularly too bad, but if they had found one of those power play goals, I really think they win this game. Then, just over the halfway mark of the game, the Eagles get dinged for a penalty. They managed to kill it off, but it was enough of a spark to swing momentum over into Fort Wayne's favor, and they pretty much take over the game from there. The Komets would end up outshooting the Eagles 16 shots to 11 in the second period, with the vast majority of those coming in the second half. With momentum swung in their favor, a couple of minutes after the penalty gets killed off, they even up the score at 1. The Eagles initially clear a puck here, and Fort Wayne has to wait to tag up at the blue line for everyone to get on sides, but they do so eventually and gain the zone, and you can see the Eagles are just totally discombobulated at this point. With the cutback here, Beaudin gets past, and it still should be a 2-on-2 back here, but for whatever reason, Marteau stays on this side of the ice, leaving Register to defend two players essentially by himself. That's not easy to do, so the puck eventually gets passed off towards the boards, and he goes right around Register. Marteau then is slow cutting across to help as well, so Shaftsma has a clear lane right to the goal, and he just picks a perfect shot up over Kanada's shoulder. And it was exactly plays like these that would cost the Eagles this game. They played a fairly sound game on the whole, but when things went wrong in the defensive zone for them, it just totally broke down everywhere. And when things go bad for the Eagles, it often seems like they go from bad to worse, as a few minutes later, Nick Meloche would take another penalty. He was responsible for both of the Eagles' penalties in the second period. Thankfully, the Eagles would kill this one off as well, and right when you thought the Eagles had totally lost it, Meloche wasn't happy about getting those two penalties called on him, so he comes out of the box with a fire. As the Eagles gain the offensive zone, Meloche is just coming out of the penalty box. Nantel is going to hold up with the puck a bit above the half boards here. Eventually, Meloche is going to swing in from behind and call for the drop pass. Nantel gives it to him, and Meloche decides to take it himself deep into the zone, all the way in and around the net, and goes for the wraparound try. While it does initially get stopped, Nantel, great play here, not only to get himself in position in front of the net, but then strong enough on his skates to stay up while kicking the puck to his blade, and then he finishes the job. And just like that, all sins are forgiven. The Eagles retake their 1-goal lead, and it seems like they're ready to get out of the second, keeping it. But oh no, this is the Eagles. That would be far, far too easy for them. No, just a bit over 30 seconds later, they give it right back. Puck down in the far corner in the Eagles zone. As you can see, you got 5 Eagles heads all staring right at that puck, not looking at the men they should be covering. So while watching the puck, they all just kind of drift down towards the corner. Garbowski goes in for it. Jolie kind of cuts back up towards the point. That leaves a big old gap right in the slot. Not exactly what you want to do. Eventually, Fort Wayne wins the puck battle. You can't afford to do that if you're going to commit this many people that down deep into the corner. And then Garbowski can't quite get into the passing lane, so it comes right on through to Shea, and Shea has all day to pick his spot and roof it. Well, alright, I guess they're going to make it hard for themselves. I don't know what you can say. You just can't afford to have those simple breakdowns in the defensive zone. So we head into the third tied at 2. Frankly, the Eagles just didn't look like the same team in the third period at all. They would end up getting outshot 9 to just 3 shots on goal for themselves in the period. Through the first 5 minutes of the third, the Eagles were just totally scrambling, trying to keep up with Fort Wayne, and they would fail to do so as they would score the game-winning goal less than 5 minutes in. This was a bit of a weird one. First, Kanata settles the puck kind of strangely to the side of his net here, so Watson can take it coming around behind. Watson then skates right into the corner and basically immediately turns it over. It gets winged hard up to the far point where it just gets slapped on net. Kanata makes the initial save, but neither Watson or Malash are really in position at all for the way this rebound comes out, and that leaves a wide open net for Thompson to just throw it into. Maybe a bit of a tougher one there. You probably can't afford to make turnovers like that one. You can't afford to give up big rebounds like that either. But you know what? Sometimes goals like that get scored. Problem is, because of your breakdowns earlier, it now gave Fort Wayne the lead. And after that, honestly, it really just seemed like the Eagles didn't have a ton of fight left in them. They tried to scratch back, but the 3 shots on goal should really tell you most of what you need to know. They did get a couple decent chances where they missed the net, and a few dangerous ones with the goalie pulled late, but ultimately they fall short. The good news is the first 30 minutes of this game were great, and if they play like that for the majority of Game 7, they should be able to win. I talked to Julian and Nantel after the game, and he was surprisingly upbeat. Obviously not happy that they gave this game away, but seemed confident that this team could beat Fort Wayne in Game 7 handily. And as pro hockey players, Game 7s are what these guys live for. The spotlight is on who's going to step up and make that big play to take this series. The only question left now is, will the fairy tale story for the Eagles continue on into the finals, or is the clock going to strike midnight? That is the end of this playoff game video review. Thank you for watching. I'm Rudo3, and I'll be doing my best not to cheer, at least externally, from the press box for the home team in Game 7.